Have you ever felt like your giving heart is both your greatest strength and your biggest vulnerability? Let's face it, being a giver is a beautiful thing. You're the one people turn to, the one who lights up a room, and the one who goes the extra mile without expecting anything in return. But what happens when that boundless generosity meets someone who takes and never stops? Here's the hard truth. Takers don't have limits. They'll keep taking until there's nothing left. And as a giver, your limitless capacity to give makes you their perfect match and their perfect target. But not today. Not anymore. This is your moment to protect your giving heart, to learn the signs, and to ensure that your kindness remains your superpower, not your Achilles heel. Welcome to Lean On Me, your gateway to timeless wisdom. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on life-changing hacks rooted in ancient and modern philosophy. We're on a mission to bring balance, wisdom, and calm to modern life, but we can't do it without your support. Help us grow by sharing these powerful insights with your friends, family, and anyone seeking a path to wisdom and knowledge. Thanks for being part of this journey. Givers and takers, two personalities that can create magic together or absolute chaos. If you're a giver, you know the joy of helping someone out, of making life better for the people you love. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. What happens when a giver falls in love with a taker? It's like putting a bottomless pit next to a never-ending faucet. The water keeps flowing, and the pit, well, it's never full. Today, we're diving deep into why this dynamic can be a one-way ticket to emotional exhaustion, and how to make sure it doesn't happen to you. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have the tools to protect your giving heart, and I'll even share a little secret about how to turn your giving nature into your biggest strength without ever being drained. Let's start with the giver. If you're one, you probably hear this all the time. Wow, you're so generous. Or you have such a big heart. Sound familiar? Givers find joy in making others happy. It's not transactional. You don't keep score. You're the one baking cookies for the neighbor's kids, lending your coworker a hand on their project, or staying up late to comfort a friend going through a breakup. But here's the twist. Givers have no limits. That's right, no limits. If you're a giver, you'll pour out your time, your energy, and your resources until there's nothing left. And you know what? You'll still find a way to give more. Now, what happens when a taker enters the picture? Let's talk about them. Takers are charming. Oh, they're really charming. They know exactly what to say to pull at your heartstrings. They might even convince you that their world will fall apart if you don't step in to help. And for a giver, that's music to your ears. You're wired to fix, to nurture, to save. Quick cut. A giver offering their last slice of pizza while the taker shamelessly takes it, then asks, "Got anything to drink?" Here's the catch. Takers don't have limits either. Their appetite for what you can give is endless. Need emotional support? You're their therapist. Financial help? They're on it. Time? You're their personal assistant. And while you're running on empty, they're living large, completely oblivious to the toll it's taking on you. Let's bring this to life. Do you know the story of Steve and Jane? Jane was the giver, always doing little things to brighten Steve's day. Notes in his lunchbox, surprise gifts, you name it. And Steve, he was the taker. At first, he'd say thank you, but soon he stopped noticing. Jane would plan dates, pay for dinners, and even skip her own commitments to make time for him. And Steve, he took it all, but never gave back. Eventually, Jane hit her breaking point. She realized that while she was pouring her soul into the relationship, Steve wasn't even holding a cup. Sound familiar? If it does, don't worry, you're not alone. Here's a question to think about. Why do givers fall for takers? One reason is simple. Givers see the best in people. You might think, if I give enough, they'll change. Or maybe you believe that your love, your kindness, your effort can fill the void inside them. But here's the harsh truth. You can't outgive someone's emptiness. The second reason? Validation. Helping others makes you feel good, needed, and valuable. But takers can exploit that, leaving you stuck in a cycle where you're constantly giving, hoping for scraps of appreciation. So, how do you break free? The first step is recognizing the pattern. Are you always the one giving while the other person takes? Do they respect your boundaries, or do they guilt trip you when you say no? If your relationship feels more like a one-sided transaction, it's time to reassess. Set boundaries, protecting your energy without building walls. Setting boundaries is not about shutting people out, it's about defining where your limits are and sticking to them. Think of boundaries as invisible fences around your emotional, physical, and mental energy. They let in what nurtures you and keep out what drains you. But here's the tricky part. Givers often resist setting boundaries because it feels selfish. Let me assure you, it's the opposite. Boundaries are an act of self-respect. They tell the world, I value myself enough to protect my well-being. Imagine a friend constantly asks for your help with their work, but they never offer to return the favor. Instead of endlessly sacrificing your time, you can say, I'd love to help, but I only have an hour to spare. You're still kind, but now you've created a limit that protects your time. Start small. Practice setting boundaries in low-stakes situations, like declining an invite to an event you're not interested in. Over time, it will become second nature. Say no without guilt, a skill every giver needs. Saying no can feel like a betrayal for givers. You worry about disappointing people, burning bridges, or being seen as unkind. But here's the truth. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying no to your own needs. Think of no as a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone an elaborate explanation. A simple, polite response like, I can't commit to this right now, is more than enough. If saying no directly feels too harsh at first, use what I call the no sandwich. Start with a positive statement, insert your no, and end with kindness. For example, thank you for thinking of me. Unfortunately, I can't take this on right now, but I really appreciate you reaching out. Every time you say no to something that doesn't align with your goals or values, you're saying yes to something that does. That could be more time for your family, your hobbies, or simply recharging your energy. Remember, even superheroes have to say no sometimes. Imagine if Superman agreed to help everyone at once. He'd never save Metropolis, because he'd be stuck rescuing cats from trees all day. Surround yourself with other givers, building a circle that feeds you. Have you ever noticed how being around other givers feels energizing? That's because when two givers come together, the relationship becomes a cycle of mutual support, not a one-sided drain. Surrounding yourself with other givers doesn't mean cutting off takers entirely. It means balancing your relationships to ensure you're not the only one doing all the giving. How to find them? Look for people who offer to help without being asked. Pay attention to those who listen as much as they talk. Notice who checks in on you without needing something in return. Imagine a group of friends planning a trip. In a group of takers, one person ends up organizing everything. But in a group of givers, everyone pitches in. One books the tickets, another handles accommodations, and someone else plans activities. The load is shared, and everyone benefits. Why it matters. When your circle is full of givers, it's easier to maintain healthy boundaries. These are the people who will encourage you to take breaks, remind you to prioritize self-care, and step up when you need help. Surrounding yourself with givers doesn't just make life easier, it also reminds you that it's okay to receive. Givers tend to forget this, but letting someone else pour into you is just as important as giving. Here's the good news. When you protect your giving nature, you'll start attracting the right people, those who give as much as they take. Relationships with balanced givers are deeply fulfilling. They're built on shared effort, mutual respect, and real connection. And the best part? When you're no longer drained by takers, you'll have more energy for the things and people that truly matter. Imagine living a life where your kindness doesn't feel like a burden, but a blessing. That's the reward waiting for you. Quick pause. If you know someone who would find this video helpful or interesting, share it with them. Every share helps more people discover our channel, and your support truly makes a difference. Here are some hidden truths about takers. Takers often come across as charming, persuasive, and even well-meaning at first glance. But beneath the surface, their behavior reveals hidden truths about their nature and the way they navigate relationships. Here are some insights into the hidden truths about takers. Takers are masters of manipulation. Takers are experts at spotting givers and leveraging their empathy to their advantage. They know exactly what to say or do to pull at your heartstrings. Whether it's playing the victim, guilt-tripping, or showering you with just enough gratitude to keep you engaged, takers excel at creating scenarios where you feel compelled to give more. Hidden truth. Their charm is often strategic, designed to disarm you and make you feel obligated to meet their needs. Takers rarely acknowledge their role. Takers often operate with a sense of entitlement. They may see your giving as something they deserve, rather than a gift you're choosing to offer. This mindset prevents them from recognizing or appreciating the effort you put into the relationship. Hidden truth. Takers rarely reflect on how much they're taking because they don't see themselves as the problem. They view their behavior as normal, even justified. Takers know how to test your limits. Takers are like water. They will flow into every crack you leave open. If you don't set boundaries, they will keep pushing, taking more of your time, energy, and resources until there's nothing left. And even then, they'll likely ask for more. Hidden truth. They test limits not out of malice, but because they've learned that most people won't push back. They rely on your discomfort with confrontation to get what they want. Takers often see relationships as transactions. While givers invest in relationships emotionally, takers often view them through a transactional lens. They measure interactions by what they can gain, whether it's material support, emotional labor, or social advantages. Hidden truth. Takers rarely give back unless they see a direct benefit to themselves. Even when they do give, it's often calculated, not altruistic. At their core, many takers operate from a place of insecurity. Their endless appetite for attention, validation, or resources stems from a deep fear of scarcity, whether it's emotional, financial, or social. They take because they don't believe they have enough or are enough on their own. Hidden truth. Behind their demanding nature is often a fragile ego, masked by overconfidence or bravado. Not all takers are blatant in their behavior. Some are subtle, presenting themselves as helpless or perpetually in need. They might lean on your sympathy, constantly framing their issues as emergencies that require your intervention. Hidden truth. The most dangerous takers are the ones who disguise their taking as vulnerability. They're harder to spot because their needs seem genuine and urgent. Takers often move on when the giving stops. When a giver sets boundaries or starts saying no, takers may either lash out or quietly fade away. They thrive in relationships where their needs are prioritized, and when that dynamic shifts, they often lose interest. Hidden truth. Takers rarely stick around when the benefits dry up. Their loyalty is tied to what they can get, not who you are. Takers are often surrounded by givers. Takers gravitate toward empathetic, compassionate people who are willing to put others first. They are drawn to environments where givers outnumber takers because it increases their chances of getting what they need. A taker's social circle often reflects their strategy. They surround themselves with people who are more likely to sacrifice their own needs. Takers struggle with genuine gratitude. Even when takers say thank you, their gratitude often feels shallow or short-lived. This isn't because they're incapable of gratitude, but because they view generosity as something they're entitled to rather than something they should value deeply. Hidden truth. Takers struggle to feel genuine appreciation because they focus more on what they're getting than on the effort behind it. Takers can change, but rarely do. It's possible for a taker to shift their mindset and behavior, but it requires self-awareness, accountability, and a willingness to grow. Unfortunately, most takers don't see a problem with their actions, as long as they're getting what they want. Change only happens when a taker is faced with firm boundaries or significant consequences that force them to reevaluate their behavior. Understanding these hidden truths about takers can help you spot their patterns early and protect your energy. Remember, being a giver is a beautiful quality, but it doesn't mean you have to be a doormat. Recognize the signs, set boundaries, and choose relationships where your kindness is met with mutual respect and appreciation. So if you're a giver, remember this: your kindness is your superpower. It's what makes you special, what makes you shine in a world that can often feel cold and transactional. Givers see the good in people, the potential in every situation, and the beauty in lifting others up. But here's the catch. Every superpower has its kryptonite. When your kindness is shared with the wrong people, those who take and take without giving back, it can leave you drained, disillusioned, and questioning your worth. That's why it's essential to see your kindness for what it truly is, a rare and precious gift. A gift that deserves protection. Think about it this way. Would you leave a priceless piece of art out in the rain? Of course not. You'd shelter it, keep it safe, and ensure it's appreciated by those who understand its value. Your kindness deserves the same care. Protect it. This doesn't mean shutting people out or becoming guarded. It means being intentional about where you pour your energy. It's about saying yes to people and situations that align with your values and no to those that drain your spirit. It's not selfish, it's survival. Cherish it. Take time to acknowledge the beauty of your giving nature. Celebrate the joy you bring to others, but don't forget to turn some of that kindness inward. Treat yourself with the same generosity you extend to others. After all, you can't pour from an empty cup, and share it with those who appreciate it. True givers will recognize and honor your kindness. They'll reciprocate, creating a flow of giving and receiving that's not only fulfilling but also deeply energizing. When you surround yourself with the right people, your kindness doesn't just bounce back, it multiplies. Because here's the magic of giving to the right people. The return isn't just doubled, it's infinite. It creates a ripple effect that reaches further than you could ever imagine. You might brighten someone's day, and in turn, they brighten someone else's. Before you know it, your single act of kindness has sparked a chain reaction of positivity. By setting boundaries, saying no without guilt, and building a network of mutual givers, you're not just protecting yourself, you're creating space for healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Remember, your kindness and generosity are treasures. Protect them, nurture them, and share them wisely. Because when you give from a full cup, everyone wins. So wear your kindness proudly. It's not a weakness, it's your greatest strength. Protect it, cherish it, and share it wisely. So, here's the bottom line. Your giving heart is a treasure, but even treasures need to be guarded. Protecting your kindness isn't about shutting people out. It's about choosing who gets access to your light. Remember, a true relationship, whether in love or friendship, isn't about one person constantly giving and the other taking. It's about balance, reciprocity, and mutual respect. When you learn to protect your giving heart, something amazing happens. You start attracting people who value your generosity, not exploit it. And that's when your giving nature becomes not just a strength, but a force of unstoppable good. So, if you're a giver, promise yourself this: never let a taker drain your spirit. Because when you give to the right people, your kindness doesn't just shine, it ignites an endless light. You're creating a legacy that lasts forever. Before you go, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Every click helps this story flow further, and together, we're unstoppable. Let's make success go viral.